Wow, what a week. Seriously. It feels like we're at this massive tipping point where technology isn't just a gadget we buy, it's shaping everything, from our living rooms to the literal rules of the world. Okay, let's get into it. Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech Weekend Edition. This is where we cut through the noise and break down the biggest stories that are shaping our digital world right now. We've got 5 massive stories on deck for you today. First, AI is basically invading our homes, in a good way, mostly. Then, Apple is completely changing the game with a new iPhone. Google is making a huge, risky bet on its new AI assistant. We'll also look at how governments are playing a global game of chess with tech rules. And finally, Samsung is dropping new gear right in the middle of a huge retail war. Let's do this. So first up, the home. The big IFA tech show in Berlin just wrapped, and if there's one takeaway, it's this. AI isn't just on your phone anymore. Nope, it's getting baked into pretty much every appliance you can think of. And it really makes you wonder, right? Is your house getting smarter than you are? Because looking at the stuff on the show floor, it was this amazing mix of, wow, that's brilliant, and okay, that's just plain weird. What's so wild is the trend underneath all this. We're seeing AI graduate from just listening to our voice to actually doing complicated physical jobs. I mean, we saw a robot arm that can play a full game of chess with you, an AI iron that uses high-speed wind, a completely automated self-flushing cat toilet, and even a vacuum cleaner with a little arm that can pick up a toy before it starts cleaning. The end goal here seems to be total hands-off automation for everything. But the one device that totally stole the show was this thing, the IFA Mars Walker. It finally solves the biggest pain point for robot vacuums in houses with more than one floor. Now check this out. This isn't the vacuum itself, it's like a transport for the vacuum. Your little RoboVac drives into it, the Mars Walker clamps down, and then it just climbs the stairs using these heavy-duty wheels and a sensor. Once it gets to the top, a ramp drops down and the vacuum just rolls out to clean the next level. It is absolutely insane to see in person. Okay, let's jump to our second story, which was probably the biggest single product reveal of the whole week. Apple is shaking up its iPhone strategy in a big way, and they're introducing a brand new model that is all about one thing. And that one thing is thinness. Just look at that number, 5.6 millimeters. That is the new iPhone Air. It's the thinnest iPhone Apple has ever built, and it really feels like a whole new chapter for their design team. But here's where it gets really interesting, looking at the trade-offs. To get that incredibly thin design, the Air has a single 48-megapixel camera on the back and 8 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 17 Pro, on the other hand, is thicker, but that's because it's packing a 3-camera system, 12 gigs of RAM, and even a fancy vapor chamber cooling system for that A19 Pro chip. So Apple is giving you a very clear choice. Do you want the thinnest phone possible, or do you want all the pro-level features? But not everyone on Wall Street is convinced this is a home run. You've got veteran Jefferies analyst Edison Lee basically telling everyone to pump the brakes. He's keeping a hold rating on Apple stock, and his argument is that, yeah, the design is cool, but the market kind of expected it. He's warning that all the good news is already priced in, and he's not sure this is going to be enough to get everyone to rush out and upgrade. Meanwhile, Apple's #1 rival is making its own massive gamble. Not with hardware, though, but with the actual soul of its smart home. Google is officially moving on from the Google Assistant and replacing it with its super powerful AI, Gemini. And this chart just perfectly lays out the huge leap Google is trying to take here. The original Assistant was amazing for its time, great for simple stuff like, hey Google, turn on the lights. But Gemini for Home is meant to be a real AI partner. It's designed to understand how we actually talk so you can brainstorm with it or get proactive help. It's a difference between having a butler who follows orders and having a true assistant who thinks with you. But, and it's a big but, the transition so far has been, let's say, rocky. In the race to build the future, it seems Google forgot some of the basics. This quote from a user on Reddit just nails the frustration perfectly. Yeah, Gemini can do some amazing new things, but right now, it can't even handle simple tasks the old assistant did just fine, like locking your smart door. Ouch. So what's the fix? Well, it looks like Google's answer is new hardware. We're seeing a lot of leaks pointing to a brand new lineup of Nest devices, and they're supposedly launching right alongside the Gemini rollout in October. The key here is that these devices are expected to be Gemini native, built from the ground up to use the AI's power with better specs like 2K cameras. Google's betting that this new hardware is the missing piece that'll make Gemini's power actually work in the real world. All right, from the gadgets in our smart homes, let's zoom the camera way, way out for our fourth story. Because while all these companies are fighting over our living rooms, governments around the world are fighting to write the rules for the entire digital future. We saw a huge move this week when the US and the UK signed this massive multi-billion-dollar tech pact. And this isn't just another trade deal. Think of it as a strategic alliance focused on the three technologies that are going to define the next 100 years: AI, semiconductors, and quantum computing. It's about working together to set the standards for how all this stuff gets built and used. And at the very same time, you've got India writing its own set of rules. Their e-commerce market is exploding. It's going to be worth over $137 billion in just a year. So the government there just dropped new guidelines aimed at protecting consumers from fake products and making sure the whole market stays competitive and fair. And then you have this, which might be the biggest deal of them all. The Council of Europe just adopted the world's first ever international, legally binding treaty on artificial intelligence. The goal here is pretty clear, as you can see from their statement. They want to create a global standard to make sure AI technology always respects human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. And it's open to countries all over the world, not just in Europe, which is a huge step. All right, for our final story, let's bring it all back home to the products we actually hold in our hands. We're looking at Samsung's brand new devices and a super high-stakes showdown in one of the biggest markets on the planet. So Samsung just unveiled its next wave of gadgets, and it's pretty clear they're targeting two different kinds of people. You've got the power users who get this massive 14.6-inch Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra. It's basically a laptop replacement. And then for everyone else, there's the Galaxy S25 Fan Edition, which is all about the essentials: a bigger battery and way faster charging and a phone that's a bit more affordable. But you know how the internet works. One little design change on that new tablet has already kicked off a massive debate online. Leaked images show this new teardrop notch design, and in making that change, Samsung actually removed one of the two front-facing cameras. And some fans are not happy, questioning why you'd remove a feature on a super premium device. And finally, all these new gadgets are dropping right in the middle of a massive retail war in India. The two biggest online stores there, Flipkart and Amazon, are getting ready for their biggest sales of the year, but they're taking totally different approaches. Flipkart is all about generating hype, crazy iPhone deals, flash sales, you name it. Amazon, on the other hand, is playing the long game, focusing on being reliable and having the best logistics. It's a really fascinating clash of strategies for a prize worth billions of dollars. And that brings us to the big question that kind of ties this whole week together. We've talked about AI that can play chess, AI that's replacing our smart assistants, and governments writing global treaties to control it all. So as this tech gets more and more woven into our daily lives, you have to ask, with AI in our pockets and in our homes, who's really in control here? And that's all for this weekend's Roundup. If you enjoyed this explainer and found it helpful, we'd love it if you'd like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. We'll see you next time.